important topic, and that is about the flower. Okay, why it is important? Because the system, how a new plant actually grows, how there are so many trees, so many plants, because there have to be some way for the plant to multiply, right? So because of that, the flower of the plant is very important. So today it is going to be very interesting because first of all, we are going to learn the various parts of the flower. And then we are going to learn that which part of the flower is the male part, which part of the flower is the female part, and which part of the flower actually becomes the fruit, and which part of the flower becomes the seed. Now, first of all, you all tell me that how does a new plant grow? From what?
Seeds.
Yes, yes. So a new plant grows from a seed. And nature is so beautiful because the seed is so important, right? So it is protected very well. It is protected very well. So whenever you eat a fruit, what do you find inside the fruit?
Seeds.
Yes, yes. So have you seen that all the fruits, maximum fruits are always fleshy, right? And inside that fleshy portion, there is the seed. So nature has created it so beautifully, you see. The seed is so important, right, for the plant to multiply. And so it is protected like a cushion. No, the fleshy part of the fruit acts like a cushion and the seed is protected. So let us start our chapter today, and that is about the flower. Okay, you note it down because the important parts of the flower, you have to note it down. And Saisha and all have the book, right? So you have to see that. Okay, I'll be sharing the page now. Okay, I think ma'am have to make me the co-host. Till then, Uh, yesterday I gave you homework. Did anyone like do the homework?
I got a leaf.
Leaves? Yeah, yeah. What is the
Ma'am,
Venetian in your leaf?
bring my leaf from my.
Yeah, what do you think this is? Saisha, just a moment. Let's see Japrit's leaf. What is this Venetian? Tell me, Japrit.
Reticles.
Yes, yes, it's reticulate, reticulate. And yesterday we had learned one thing, that if reticulate venation is present in the leaf, then what type of root we find for the plant? Yes, taproot, right. If the leaf has reticulate venation, that means the plant has taproot. And if the leaf has parallel venation, like in case of banana and onion, right? In that case, they have parallel venation and it has what type of root then? Fibrous root. Very good, very good. Right, that is right. So let us now see the chapter, okay, flower. This is very interesting and also important at the same time. Yeah. Yeah. Yesterday I had missed, yeah, this plant, this leaf you see, first you tell me this leaf, A is what? A, the name of plant A of the leaf. We had discussed.
Vine
Yeah.
leaf.
Veinless, right? Veinless, right, right. Veinless, very good. What about B, the green portion of the leaf?
Lemon.
Lamina. Lamina, lamina. Very good. What about C, the midline?
Midrib.
Midrib.
Yes, very good. Midrib. So you remember. And what about D?
Petiole.
Yeah, it's the petiole, right?
Petiole.
Petiole, right. Very good, very good. So you remember. Now you see, we missed two lines yesterday. One was that leaves of some plants store extra food. In case of root also, we had studied that some roots modify themselves to store food. Can you give me an example quickly? Root storing food, and we eat them as vegetables. Root storing food, we eat them as vegetables. Example, quickly.
Can you repeat the question?
Potato.
I said that some roots, they modify themselves, right? And they store food, the extra food of the plant, they store the root. And we eat them as vegetables. Can you give example?
Spinach.
No. That is leaf, right? I'm telling about root. Some vegetables, which is actually a root, but they store the extra vegetable.
Like
Potato.
potatoes. Yeah.
Potato is a stem. Remember what is the root example? Root which stores food. Yeah.
We can say carrot.
Carrot. Yeah. Carrot.
Radish.
Then radish.
Turnip.
Then turnip. Yes, those are
Yeah.
roots, but they store food, right? We had studied no root modifications. Now
Yeah.
tell me stem storing food.
Potato.
Onion.
Potatoes and onions
Onion.
and ginger, right? Yeah, great. And one more, garlic. Those are stems storing food. Now, leaves storing food, and we eat them as vegetables. Example will be spinach, cabbage, lettuce. Okay, these are leaves which store the food. Okay, this is one thing. Now, we know that in which part of the plant buds grow. Which part of the plant buds grow?
Nodes.
In the nodes, yes. And where do we find the nodes? In which part of
Like
the
on
plant?
this. On the
On the
stem.
stem, right, on the stem. Very good, excellent. So on the stem, the buds grow. But there is one plant whose name is, you see, this name is given over here, Bryophyllum. Can you see? On the top, second line. Bryophyllum is a plant which has buds on it. Okay, it's an exception. It is a unique plant. So in that leaf itself, bud will grow. And if you know, put that leaf into the soil, a new bryophyllum plant will come. Because we all know that from buds only new plants grow, right? I mean, right? From that new plant will grow. So now let us come to our main topic, that's the flower. Can you see the flower? Is it visible to you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. See. So it's very interesting, okay? We will learn the story of flower today, how it actually functions, right? You see, there are four main parts of the flower. The male reproductive part, the female reproductive part, then we have sepals, and we have petals. Have you heard any term before today?
I heard petals.
Yes, petals. Petals because we hear in case of flower. But today we are going to learn first the male reproductive plant. Okay, see over this box. You have to remember the names. Stamens, stamens. Stamens are the male reproductive parts of the flower. Okay. What is the male reproductive part? Repeat it.
Stamens.
Stamens.
Stamens, right. And stamens have two parts. Okay, can you see here those lines? One is the anther. You have to note it down so that you can remember it. Okay. So one is the anther. Can you see the spelling? A-N-T-H-E-R. That is one part of the stamen. And the other part of the stamen is filament. 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 Okay. First, you have to remember the name of the male part. That is called the stamens. Stamens are divided into two. One is anther and the other is the filament. Now we will see what is anther in the flower and what is filament. Okay. See. Can you see arrow, the anther portion? That bean kind of structure. Can you see?
Yes.
That bean kind of structure is known as the anther, and the green longer portion known as the filament. Just see. You have to remember. Sometimes see which is the anther, which is the filament. Okay, in live flowers also you can study. Why each stamen has two parts, a thin stalk called filament and a knob-like structure called anther. Now, the anther produces a powdery substance. This is important. You have to remember that anther, no, that knob-like structure, it has got a powdery substance which is known as the pollen. 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 Okay. Why pollen is important? I'm going to tell you, but not now. Suspense for some time. Now, that is the male part. Male part is clear to you? Tell me what is the name of the male part?
Stamen.
Stamen. Yeah, stamen. And stamen is divided into two parts. Number one,
Anther and second.
anther,
And filament.
and second,
Filament.
filament. Great, filament. Now tell me, anther has something. What is that?
Anther has a powdery substance.
Yes, it has a powdery substance, and that
That-
substance name is
Pollen.
pollen. You have to remember this name, okay? I'm going to tell you why. Now come to the female part of the flower. Female part of the flower is this green part, no? Central green part. I'll show you just a moment. This part is the female part. Can you see?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. Now let us learn what is the female part. The female part is known as the carpel, 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 which is also known as the pistil, Pistil. Okay, I think because these terms are new for you, you have to note it down. Otherwise, you will forget. So, carpel, Carpel, is the female reproductive part of the flower. Now, the carpel is divided into three parts. Okay, the top portion is known as the stigma. Then the base has a large portion, that is the ovary, and a tube-like structure called the style. Style connects ovary and stigma. Let us look into the picture, that will be easy to understand. It is beautifully labeled over here. Now, in this female part is divided into three parts. The uppermost part, if you see, it's the stigma. What is it?
Stigma.
Stigma. Then that longer portion which connects the stigma to the ovary is known as the Style. Very good. And that round oval structure is known as the
Ovary.
ovary. Very good. Now, inside the ovary, if you all notice, there are some small structures, right? 8 structures are there inside. Can you see?
Yes.
Do you know what it is called? I will tell you, okay? It's the ovule. O-V-U-L-E. Ovule. Okay? Now, since it is new for you, everybody, please tell me what is the female part of the flower?
Carpel.
Carpel or
Carpel.
pistil.
Right. Or pistil. Very good. Now, carpel is divided into 3 portions. The topmost portion is known as
Stigma.
stigma. The lowermost portion, which is enlarged, known as
Style.
lowermost portion, which is, enlarged or oval.
Ovary.
Ovary, right? And stigma is connected to the ovary by a long structure known as
Style.
style. Very good. And inside the ovary, what do you find?
Ovals.
Ovules. Very good. See the last line in this box. Ovary contains tiny ball-like structures called ovules, which later become seeds. Very important. Now you've got one thing, that later these ovules will become what? Seeds.
Seeds.
Yeah, we will learn the process also, how they are going to become the seed. Okay. Now, the male part and the female part, is it clear to you?
Yes.
Amazing, great. Now come to the sepals. S-E-P-A-L-S, sepals. Now, what is the sepal? Just see. Can you see that green portion below the flower?
Yes.
Green portion below the flower is known as sepals. Now, what the sepal does, we will learn now. Sepals are the green leaf-like structures at the base of the flower. Now, sepals protect the flower. Function of sepals: protection and support. Okay. Sepals will protect the flower when the flower is developing, and after the flower blooms, it will support the petals. Because what? The petals, they spread out, no? If sepals don't protect the petals, it will just fall off, right? So the function of that green portion, which is below the flower, is that first it will protect the flower when it is developing, and once the flower blooms, it will give support to the petals. Okay, that is the function of the sepals. And finally, petals, which you have already heard, the colorful structure that surround the inner part of the flower is known as the petals. Okay, the colorful structure that we can see, the beauty of the flower, which we say, those are the petals. Now, that was the entire part of a flower. So, have you understood the parts of the flowers?
Yes.
Yes. Also, can you go over the petal text really quick? I have to copy something off. Like ready. Thank you.
Okay. So, quickly just tell me, the male reproductive part is known as
Stamen.
stamens, right? Divided into 2. First is,
Anther.
and the second is?
Filament.
Great. Now, anther consists of something. What is it?
Anther consists of some powdery substance that is called
Yeah,
pollen.
pollen. Very good. Now, tell me, female reproductive part is known as?
Carpel.
Carpel
pistil.
or pistil. Right. Divided into 3 parts. Number 1,
Stigma.
stigma.
That is the upper one. And
Yes.
style that
Style.
connect with stigma and ovary.
Yeah.
And as ovary that is the base of the part, and that has tiny balls in it that is called ovules.
Right. And ovule is going to become what?
Ovules.
It is going to become what later?
Seeds.
Seed. Very good. Now, green portion below the flower is known as
Sepals.
sepals. Function of sepal is?
Sepal protect the flower when it blooms.
Develops, right? And after it blooms, what it will do? It will protect the petals, right? Very good. And the colorful portion is known as?
Petals.
Very good. Great. So the structure is now clear to you. Let us go to the portion which we will understand now. How seed is formed, that procedure we are going to study. Now, is it interesting till now?
Yes.
Yeah, it is interesting. Okay, activity later on we will do. Let us see, this is the process of pollination. Pollination. Okay, pollination. Now see, in this portion, we are going to learn the importance of the pollen that is present in the anther of the male part, and then how that pollen is necessary. The pollen must go into the female part in order to form the fruit or the seed. Okay, we are going to read that. If you have any doubt, you can just ask me. Like if you find it difficult to understand and you want me to simplify it, then please tell me frankly. I will simplify it. Okay, now let us read this. This is a beautiful thing. For a flower to develop, into a fruit and form seeds, pollen grains must be transferred from anthers to the stigma. Now imagine, make the diagram of the flower in your mind. You have to remember that for a flower to develop into a fruit and form seeds, the pollen grains which is present in the anther must reach the stigma. Understood? This is clear to you? Yes, girls?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll show you in the diagram
That's
also.
seeing it again.
You want me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
Okay, see. Now, do you remember the anther and filament in the flower?
Yes.
So in the anther, there is a powdery substance which is known as the pollen grain, right?
Yeah.
Now, the seed is going to develop inside the ovary, right? Inside the ovary, seed will develop. Now, for the development of the seed or the fruit, the pollen grain has to reach the stigma, female part, the uppermost part of the flower, female part, right? Stigma.
Mm-hmm.
So pollen grain has to reach the stigma, and from that stigma, it will go through the style into the ovary. Okay? And
Okay.
after, when it reaches the ovary, that pollen grains, when it reaches the ovary, what will happen? It will form into a fruit and seed. Now, is it clear to you?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, very good, very good. So, see, definition of pollination. What is pollination? We have to remember. Okay, this is very important. What is pollination? The transfer of pollen grains from anther to a stigma is called pollination. Easy, very easy. The transfer of pollen grains from an anther to a stigma is called pollination. Is it clear to you what is pollination?
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell me once, what is pollination?
The transfer between the anther and stigma.
Yeah, what is transferred from anther to stigma?
Pollen.
Pollen grains, right. The transfer of pollen grains from an anther to stigma is known as pollination. Now, three of you tell me, is it clear to you what is pollination?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, see, there are two types of pollination, okay? Two types of pollination. See the picture. First, I'm going to zoom the first picture. First picture is, what is it? Tell me. It is written over there below the flower.
Self-pollination.
Self-pollination.
Right. Number one is two types of pollination. Number one is self-pollination. Now, what is self-pollination? Suppose there is one flower. This is a flower, right? In the same flower, there is anther and there is the ovary. Can you see the stigma? It's written there, right?
Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, from where pollen grains come?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, from where pollen grains come?
From where pollen grains come?
Yes, ma'am.
It is already there inside the anther, you know. The anther itself will produce the pollen grains. Okay. Those pollen grains will be there inside the anther itself. It will be produced inside the anther itself. Okay. That's why we need to learn that what is anther and why pollen grains are there. No, that is important because that is the part where actually the pollen grains are actually produced.
Good evening, ma'am.
Oh, good evening. Yeah. So we were reading now self-pollination. Self means within one flower, the anther has the pollen grains. That pollen grain will be transferred to the stigma in one flower. Okay. Suppose there is one flower. In that flower, there will be anther. Anther will have the pollen grains and there will be the female part, the stigma. So in that same flower, the pollen grains will be transferred to the stigma. Now, this is clear to you or you're confused? Self-pollination. Self means what? Suppose when people tell me I'm self-dependent, that means I'm dependent on myself, right? Self-dependent. Same way, self-pollination means if pollination happens in the same flower, means in that same flower, there will be anther and there will be, the female part, the stigma, style, and ovary. If pollination happens in the same flower, that means pollen grains of the same flower will go into the female part of the same flower. That is self-pollination. Okay? Is it clear to you, self-pollination?
Yes.
Very good.
Ma'am.
Now come to the next pollination, next type of pollination, that is the cross-pollination. Cross-pollination. That means pollination between two flowers. Okay. Now, the anther has pollen grains. Now, pollen grains from one flower will go into the female part of another flower. Okay, is it clear to you? It's very simple. Cross-pollination means anther has the anther of one flower will have the pollen grain, and that pollen grain will be transferred to the female part of another flower, not the same flower. That is cross-pollination. Now, is it clear to you, this cross-pollination?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now the question comes, how pollen grains from one flower will go to the female part of another flower. So you can see in the picture itself. Tell me how it will go.
From the bees?
Bees, right? Bees or any kind of insect, maybe the butterfly or maybe, you know, ants also, butterflies or flies, anything. Those will fall on the, flower. What will happen? The pollen grain, when, you know what, why bees fall into the flower?
Yeah. Because to suck nectar.
Yes, to suck the nectar. So when they will go into the flower to suck nectar, those, powdery substance, pollen grains will stick to their body. Now, when that bee will go to another flower, what will happen? Yes. Yes, girls, what will happen?
Wait, what was your question?
I asked that honeybees, they go to suck nectar from the flowers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when they go to suck nectar, the pollen grains will stick to their body. Okay. Now that particular honeybee will go to another flower, and what will happen? The pollen grain will go into the another flower, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is cross pollination. Okay. Even the wind, even the wind helps in pollination, because when the wind blows, because the pollen grains are powdery substances, right? So when the wind blows, powdery substance called the pollen grains will just fly away from one flower to another flower. That is also one means of pollination. Now all of you, Bhavya, then Japreet and Saisha, tell me, is it clear to you the pollination part?
Yes.
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 Yeah, very good. I'm going to ask you all the questions, whatever we have discussed.
I have
Now,
a quick
see,
question.
yeah,
So, for self-pollination, like a simple like description to describe that, would it be like when a flower is using its own pollen to do pollination? Like, is that a
yes, yeah,
and
yeah,
then for
that is,
cross-pollen,
say,
oh yeah, and then for cross-pollination is when pollen is transferred from one like flower to another by honeybees, wind.
yeah,
Like, is that a
right,
description? Yes.
great. That is the meaning of the theme. Self-pollination, like you said, you can say that, you can describe it in that way, and cross-pollination is that way. Okay. Now,
Okay,
what is
thank you.
pollination? Tell me, all of you.
In the pollination transfer pollen grain
What
from
is the meaning of pollination?
and stigma and
Yeah,
pollination.
Excuse me, ma'am.
yes.
Ma'am, what is the need of pollination?
What is the need of pollination? I said no, that if pollen grains don't reach the ovary, if pollen grains, they don't reach the ovary of the plant or flower, what will happen? Seeds will not form. And if seeds are not formed, tell me what will happen?
And there will be no more plants.
Yes. So now did you understand why pollination is important? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Okay. Any more questions about it?
No, ma'am.
Very good. So see, the last paragraph of this part is, many flowers are brightly colored and have a sweet smell. See, now we will know why the petals are so beautiful and why flowers have beautiful smell, Many flowers are brightly colored and have a sweet smell to attract insects such as bees. When the insect sits on the flower, the pollen grains stick to its body and may get rubbed off when it sits on another flower. This helps in pollination. I think now the process is totally clear to you, right? All of you? See, everything has a reason. Tell me why the petals are so beautiful, colorful, and with beautiful smell. Yeah, girls?
To
To
attract
attract
insects.
animals.
Yeah, insects. To attract insects, the flowers are actually beautiful. Now, in this box, let us see what is there. Besides providing us with food and several useful products, plant help to maintain the delicate balance of gases in nature. Yes, we know that, right? Oxygen, carbon dioxide. It is therefore important to protect and conserve our green areas. So this we know, right? So tell me, flower is clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Pollination is clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
now let us understand that which part of the flower actually becomes the fruit and which part of the plant becomes the seed. We already know which part of the plant becomes the seed.
Ovules.
Ovules become the seed, right? Ovules become the seed. Now in this paragraph, Bhavya and Japreet, is it clear to you? All the things?
Yes.
Okay. What about Bhavya?
Yes.
Yes, very good. Now see, after pollination, now pollination has happened, okay? Pollen grains have reached the ovary. What will happen? After pollination, the ovules change into seeds. As seeds form, the ovary develops into fruit. Very important. I will ask you which part of the flower, female part, becomes the fruit. What you will say? What you will say? Ovary. Ovary develops into fruit. After pollination has happened. Now the ovary part will form the fruit and the ovule part will form the seed. Just look, this image, apple. Can you see it? Yes, girls?
Yes, we can see it.
Yes, ma'am.
So you see the seed, that is the ovule, right? And the white part of the apple, that is the tell me, what is it, the white part? Yes, girls? Are you there?
Yes.
What about Bhavya?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. See, the seed means the ovule, right? Just imagine the flower. Just imagine the female part, and there is the ovary. Ovary, after pollination, will become the fruit. That means the white portion, fleshy portion. And we all know that ovules are present inside the ovary, right? So that ovule will become the seed after pollination. Is it clear to you? Saisha?
Yes.
clear to you, no? I'm going to ask you that which part will become the, fruit and which part will become the seed. Okay. Now, under suitable condition, that is availability of sufficient water, air, and warmth. Three things: water, air, and warmth. A seed becomes a baby plant. A seed becomes a baby plant. Okay. Now, suppose we take out the seed and we put it in the soil. We give some water and there is air and also warmth. With these three things, water, air, and warmth, write it down. You need to remember this. Water, air, and warmth, a seed will develop into a baby plant. Okay. Now, finally, this chapter is
Can
going
you
to be
repeat
over.
that?
Yeah.
Like what you just said, the water thing.
Huh. In the presence of sufficient water, air, and warmth. Warmth.
Water.
WARMTH.
Okay.
Okay. With these three, when a seed is planted, what will come out? A baby plant will come out. Now let us study the structure of the seed. See the picture? This is the seed, okay? A picture is outside of the seed. B picture is inside of the seed. Saisha, do you have time or you need to leave?
Ma'am, I want to leave.
Okay, if you want to leave, then you can. Okay.
Ma'am,
You should.
I think we can sum up today and tomorrow
Yes.
we will continue.
Okay, ma'am.
How much
Okay.
is left?
Ma'am, this is the last portion, the seed.
Okay. So, Saisha, can you stay here and for another five minutes?
No.
Hmm?
Okay, just 5 minutes.
Otherwise, you will miss it. You are doing very well. I'm very happy. Today, Saisha is asking so many questions.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
You will finish it, sum up fast, bete.
Yes, yes, ma'am. So see, this is the seed. This is the outside the seed. The brown portion is known as the seed coat. Now, coat is something which protects us, right? Whenever it's cold, we wear a coat to protect us. Same way, the seed has a seed coat, the brown portion, and there is in the middle, there is one pore. Why that pore is there? So that water can go inside the seed. Okay. And inside the seed, there is embryo. Okay. Embryo is there inside the seed. And embryo, why it is there? Because embryo is going to develop into a new plant. Look into the B picture. This is inside the seed. And you can see embryo, green color portion is the embryo. And that embryo contains the root and shoot, which will develop into a plant. Okay. And that white or yellow portion is known as the cotyledons. And those cotyledons contain food for the baby plant. Cotyledons contain the food for the baby plant, and embryo contains young root and shoot, which will develop into the plant. With that, this chapter is over, but we need to remember everything, right?